Is going on, guys, and thank you for following the channel. I'm putting this video also in my Road to the Show playlist. I'm going to be documenting, or I have been documenting, my week-to-week progress updates on competing in the Masters men's physique divisions of the Alberta Open Bodybuilding Show, where I'll be competing in the Masters division at 55 years old. What the heck? So I've got a confession to make. I lied. My initial thought process was that for the first time I was going to self-coach myself from start to finish. And I really sought pride in the fact that, you know, not only did I have the knowledge in which to do so, I've coached hundreds of people over the years and helped them lose tremendous amounts of weight and helped them prep for their shows and whatnot. So for me, it was a bit of a personal accomplishment to know that I did almost everything myself. Now, this isn't about giving myself a pat on the back, because I can't. I would be foolish to say that. Without having my wonderful wife, Antonella, who's also in the coaching nutrition business with Gazy Fitness. She does the bulk of it, actually, handling clients and managing clients. She's always in my corner. It's a tremendous, tremendous help. And if any of you have compete in a fitness competition before or a physique competition, you can appreciate just how selfish that time constraint is. Because at this point, I'm literally training 3 times a day, I would say. You got your morning cardio, you have your workout, you have your evening cardio, you have posing practice, you have your meal prep. It completely encompasses every single fiber of everything that you do. And all you're focusing on 100% is just that. And for some of us, you know, that can be months and months. See, where my downfall was, I fell off the wagon when I was getting ready for my last show. A big move across the country kind of prompted that, and I actually got a video on that as well. I'll link all those things so you can check them out in the playlist. And while you're there, do us a solid, subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate all of your support. But now that I am at the point where I'm about 8.5 weeks out, I hired a coach. Now, is this the best time to be hiring a coach for contest preparation? And the quick and short answer to that is hell no. You want them to be able to oversee the entire process from start to finish, and even further if they can. You know, because then they can see how your body's adjusting to the nutrition and the training and the updates and all those things. And they've got a better and solid understanding of where to go and what direction to take. So as part of my normal routine where I'm doing cardio in the morning and evening, that's when I have the opportunity to catch up on my YouTube videos and whatnot. And one particular gentleman really kind of resonated with me. And this is a very important part to note. Having a coach that you not only trust and admire for their accomplishments or accolades, but you kind of have to be of that same mindset, that same mold. You have to have a lot of the same theory in mind, because there's nothing worse than stepping into the passenger seat, turning over the entire process to someone else, and then having self-doubt as to what direction they're taking you or what they're advising you. And yes, there are more than one way to go about it. You want to have that level of comfort that, you know, I feel that this is the right decision that we're making, or not feel awkward about questioning the process along the way. So in short, do coaches need coaches? Well, yes, if you look at every level of every sport, at any level, even as high as Olympic Games, everyone has a coach. And why is that? Well, for me, it was a number of reasons. I got to the point where just having to be concerned about what to do next, it's not that I didn't necessarily know, but now you've got another set of educated eyes on you that can be completely, objective with their thought process and non-biased. And there's nothing worse than having to second guess yourself and the decisions that you're making, and having to perhaps live with some regret as to whether you made the right decisions. And that can be a very tough wheel to give up to someone, especially if you have not worked with them before. So you want to seek out someone that not only has those accolades and that history, but also you have that connection with. And it's not that that connection has to come from in person or what have you, but if you're watching their videos, much like you're watching mine, you say, hey, I kind of resonate with this guy's viewpoints, then by all means, reach out. I would encourage you, if you're interested in your own fitness and weight loss journey, reach out to me. I'll put our website link in there. We've got a great deal going on, by the way, 20% off our 12-week or 16-week weight loss transformation packages. Link below. Give us a holler, we'll help you out. So I reached out to Paul Barnett from Anabolic Bodybuilding online. He's got a very strong YouTube presence, does tons of podcasts. He's coached thousands of individuals with contest prep. He's an IFBB pro, and he's 50 years old. So that's something I resonate with as well. And of course, a good coach should be able to adapt to their client, regardless of their age or their condition or their intention or whatever hurdles they're facing. The hallmark of a good coach is the ability to adapt to the situation that you're faced with and make the appropriate changes. So in watching Paul's videos, it really resonated with me, his thought process about the whole start to finish contest prep. And I said, you know what? I don't want to have to worry about thinking anymore. I just want to, as we tell our Gazy fitness people, I just want to plug and play. I just want to follow the yellow brick road to success, wherever that may lead me, and have the confidence in knowing that I'm in good hands. So before I jumped into making that decision, of course I consulted with Antonella, Coach A, and said, listen, I'm having a little bit of a conundrum here because I don't know where to go with this. It's not that I didn't know the direction. It's just I didn't know whether I wanted to finish it off by myself or choose a coach. And if anyone's done contests before, you know that final week into the show could be a make or break situation, especially if you're not 100% in shape, which you most certainly should be by that point, because that last week isn't going to make a tremendous amount of difference. It's just about fine-tuning what you've already accomplished to that point. But having said that, you can also screw up that last week to the point where, you're not going to do as well as you could have. And I didn't want to have that responsibility on my own shoulders. I wanted to be able to check in multiple times a day with my coach, whoever I chose, and to be able to get that feedback. So one of the first things I said to him when I reached out is, how do you handle the final week? What is it that you do? And he told me, we're going to be in contact each and every day, and on most days, multiple times a day. And that is music to my ears, because that is exactly the way you have to be. You have to see how your body's responding to those other little adjustments in water manipulation and sodium manipulation and manipulating the carbohydrates, and all of those things can have a tremendous impact on the final look. And it's not something that I want to do myself. I want another set of eyes to say, hey, what do you think? This is how I feel. This is how I think I'm looking. But sometimes we are our own worst critics, and we don't have the ability to see these things and manage them in time. You know, heck, even LeBron James has a coach, the GOAT. All of these, not that I'm the LeBron James of anything, but I'm just using that as a distant example of the importance of having coaching in such an important process. And what Antonella said to me, she says, you know, you have put so much into it this far that I think that it's a good idea, and I support you 100%. And that's exactly what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear that affirmation that, you know what, it's an extra expense, obviously, but think of how much of a total expense that you've put out so far on the food and the supplements and the entry forms and the hotel and, you know, the photography and the outfits and whatever the case may be. It's not a cheap process. And if you don't have the funds readily available, then I wouldn't even consider it at this point, because it's going to be very, very difficult. And incorporating the cost of coaching into that entire plan has also got to be considered. It doesn't matter how knowledgeable you are on the topic, it's still fantastic to have that non-biased look at you, to be able to just focus on, I just want to focus on eating, training, doing my cardio, and getting done what you need to get done to bring your best. And as the show approaches, your mental acuity gets a little bit messed up. You get a little bit crazy in the head because you're in such a depleted state that you're exhausted. You know, you're running on fumes for most of us. And that's kind of how you know you're doing all right. If you feel like shit, there's a good chance you're looking great. Is this a healthy thing? No, I wouldn't say it's a healthy thing, but it's not a prolonged thing. You're doing it for a short period of time. You don't want to rebound crazy at the end of it by stuffing and gorging yourself worth of food. And hold me to it. If you see me in the videos starting to balloon out after this show, I want you to send me a message, throw a comment in there and say, Daryl, you remembered what you said about rebound.
You're getting too fat.
And what I told myself was, after the show, I want to stay in, you're not going to stay in that type of shape, because it's not, it's totally impractical to keep up that deficit and that amount of activity. You're just going to eventually just crumble. You can't keep up that intensity. But I told myself that I'm not going to gain, say, more than 20 pounds. If you're within 20 pounds of your striking distance, then you've got a lot of wiggle room, and it's not going to be crazy, crazy hard if you wanted to dial it in again and do this again down the road. It's not going to, like in my case, take months and months and months. This morning I weighed in at my lowest weight yet, 229 pounds, and we're still a couple months to go. So rather than make the decision myself, I messaged Paul, and that's another good thing, an important thing to note about having a coach is, how do they communicate with their clients, and how effective are they at getting back to your inquiries? There's nothing more upsetting than having a troubling question in your mind. And it could be something so stupid and trivial, but in your mind, you think this is a monumental thing and I need to know right this second. And although you can't expect your coach to get back to you every second of the day, because they do have lives, they do have other clients, they likely have periods of time in which they slot to work within, so they don't feel like they're working 24/7. So I messaged him and I said, listen, Paul, I'm down 4 pounds this week. And here are the pictures from my show in 2021 where I did the King Kong Classic. Shout out to those guys, Toronto, Ontario, where I did the Masters divisions as well. And my lowest that I had got at that show on show day was 225 pounds. So right now at, sitting at 2 months out, I'm only 4 pounds away from where I was before. Now, was I happy with the way I was before? Yes and no. I was happy that I succeeded in completing that process, and that for me is the goal. It's not, not the end result so much as it is the journey and enjoying the moment and enjoying the discipline and the structure and putting yourself to the test and setting the bar just outside your reach. Shit like that that keeps you motivated and fresh and hungry and able to do this at 55. I easily could have said, screw this shit. It's time to put myself out to pasture, right? And just sit back and enjoy. But my mindset isn't like that. I am so passionate about this craft that this is virtually all I do. I learn and I educate and I watch videos and I read in the time that I have in which I can do that. So, I reached out to Paul, and the importance of what I was trying to get is, how do they communicate? How long does it take them usually to return an answer to you? What is the form of their communication? Like, are you waiting for a text message or an email or a phone call or whatever the case may be? It should typically be consistent with each coach. So that that's the platform that is best to reach them on. And that's one of the videos that I'm going to be making soon is, good coach versus, well, maybe they could do a little bit better in some areas. And I think over the years, that's really helped our own Gazy Fitness business because it has come to give me certain expectations of what I would want in a coach. And I want to make sure that I fit that bill with our clients as well in having effective and speedy communication and understanding that while it might not be a big concern to us because we're taking these things for granted that we know what to do, it's probably a big thing for your client because they don't necessarily know what to do. And that's why they've hired you in the first place. And that's why they're reaching out to you for your technical guidance and expertise. So to assume that, they're not getting back to me or whatever the case may be, that may be rightly so. It could be that they've just maybe taken on too many clients. And that's what we like to make sure that we never do with Gazy Fitness. We're a small yet big establishment. And the reason I say that is you could keep adding coaches and coaches and coaches so you can take on more and more clients. But at some point, it loses that level of personality and connection that is very important with coaching that I find. You have to be able to resonate with your members and your clients. You have to be able to be on the front line. Nothing worse than having a boss that you've never ever seen or never addressed. You don't have an idea of what they're even like. And that's another reason why I put out these videos. So you guys get a chance to kind of gauge my personality type and say, hey, this is a person that I wouldn't mind having coach me. Seems to know what the hell he's doing. Hey, why not? Because at this point, I started this process, I don't even know how long ago. I want to say it's probably like 7 or 8 months ago because my focus wasn't to do this contest. My focus was just to not be fat again. And at that point, I was up to around 310 pounds. And again, like I said, I'm at 229 pounds. So what's that? That's 81 pounds ago for me. And that's a fair bit. So I'm dropping like a couple pounds a week, probably. Is that about right? See, as you get closer to the show, your brain doesn't want to have to worry about thinking. There's not enough glucose and glycogen up there to make you sharp as you once were. But not to worry, that will come back soon enough. I've got Kai cookies on standby that will help the brain recover that glucose. So check them out if you're interested in high level caliber competition style training. Not for the faint of heart. These fellas are pretty hardcore dudes. You know, I would rely on them for contest prep for sure. In talking about that final week, I've had coaches before that gave me the template for that entire week ahead of time. This is what you're going to have on this day, and this is what you're going to have on this day, and this is what you're going to have on the night before. And it's like, well, how do they know what I need? Like, what if I'm not responding favorably, or what if I'm responding too favorably? Do we still need to do it like you've mapped it out? And that's not a good thing. In my opinion, that's just laziness, because you need to know. You need to expect that, hey, Daryl's got a show this week. I'm going to be slotting in a lot of extra time for him because I know he's got a show coming on. You know, I've tried to work with guys before and they've, you know, respectfully declined, which is fantastic in my opinion. It sucks that I didn't get to work with them, but I know that they prioritize the amount of people they were able to take on, especially if they're getting a lot of people ready for a big show. They simply don't have the time to be taking on everybody, because you know at some point something is going to suffer. So at that point, I'm going to wrap it up for now. I'm going to update probably in another few more days with the 8-week out update, because I've been doing that every week. If you haven't had a chance, follow the playlist. You can kind of follow it from the beginning. I'm going to take you right from 0 to hero, show day, and maybe a little bit beyond that. So stick with us. It's going to be a cool journey, and I appreciate it. Check out our sponsors. I put links on the side. I put discount codes. IM8. Fantastic product. Guys, I'm not just saying that because they give me a few bucks every time I make a referral. I really don't. I try these products first. I like and I enjoy these products, or I don't. And then I think to myself, how do I get a deal on this? I don't want to pay full price for anything in my life. I want to wheel and deal every aspect. So it's like, I'll reach out to the company and say, hey, I love your product, and, you know, become an ambassador. But I have to believe in the product to be able to share it and be passionate about it. IM8 is that product. Try it, you'll love it. 92 ingredients. It covers a full spectrum of everything. Vitamins and minerals, electrolytes, MSM, joint health, heart health with CoQ10, a ton of other, you know, organic mushrooms, prebiotics, postbiotics, nootropics for the brain. There's just so many things that you will notice a difference, and they're so confident about that product that they're going to give you 30-day trial. If you don't like it, they'll give you your money back. So worst case scenario, you've got a fantastic product to try for a month. Give it a try. Use my code GAZYFitness. I'll put the link on the screen and below so you can click on it. Give them a holler. Thanks going out also to Revolution Nutrition, another big sponsor of mine. I've been getting by with their whey protein isolate, their EAAs every day with every workout, their vitamin C powder every day, their carnitine powder every day, their pre-workouts, which are fantastic, by the way. If you don't have any consideration to purchase these products or whatever, revolutionnutrition.com, link below. Check out their pre-workouts. Look at the ingredients on these things and the dosing in which they use. Unbelievable. So check them out, link below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Ciao.